You are listening to Dear Texas Radio, where we encourage Texans to drop everything and read. Your host for today is B. Allen Bourgeois.
This is Dear Texas Radio, where we do encourage you to drop everything and read. And today is a special show that is about the Authors Marketing Event. That's coming up on July 28th through the 30th in Houston. You can learn more about it at the website authors.marketing. That's it. You don't need to do anything else, no .com or anything else, just authors.marketing. And we have with us today Dino Price, who is one of our presenters. And Dino, your session is the Big Twinkie.
How to get published by a publisher.
Yes.
That's
you are a publisher.
Yeah.
So it's appropriate that you're talking about that. But yes, please explain what it is.
The authors need to know how to present themselves to a publisher appropriately, so the publisher will appreciate their offer, the pitch. They also need to know how to get the publisher's attention. And quite frankly, it doesn't matter whether a publisher or an agent, the rules are kind of the same. You know, how to attract their attention, how to keep their attention and gain their trust and loyalty so they'll actually publish your book. That's what that's about. That's what I'm trying to do, is just help the authors themselves get inside the publisher, get inside the agent's office.
And that's always the hard part.
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah, and in New York we know that a lot of it is who do you know in the publishing world. And that's why certain people, new faces, get books done because they know somebody and stuff. But for a lot of people who are not in New York or LA or Chicago, it's a lot more of a challenge. So give me an example of what you're talking about.
One of the hottest ones that I saw, the hottest pitches I saw, the guy actually did some marketing research on his book title. He found like the top 100 keywords on Amazon and matched up with the top 100 titles on Barnes & Noble and merged the two subjects together. And he came up with the top 100 cat names. The subjects he found like the top 100 baby names. And then he found that everybody on Amazon, for example, Google, was watching cat videos. And so he put the two together and he thought, well, I'm going to come up with a book called Top 100 Cat Names. But it worked. And all it was just a little keystroke marketing is all it really was. It worked. He was on, the bestseller list for months. Sold thousands of copies. That's what'll get attention from publishers and from agents, is to have a good marketing strategy. Don't just come out of the blue with something that you think is really cool. Do the research and prove to me that everybody else is going to think this is cool as well. If I know this, and you can prove this to me, you got a book sold.
Okay. So to that aspect of the marketing, we did an informal survey, and out of the responses from publishers, we said if you had the exact same author competing against a duplicate of themselves, same book, same style, everything's exactly the same. The only difference was one of them went and learned about marketing.
Right.
We found 9 out of 10 publishers would hire that person over the other person because of that.
Yeah. Well, more than one reason. First of all, the author invested back into himself. Yeah, the author, they have skin in the game, they wrote the damn thing, I understand that. But they're not invested in it at the level that you really want them to be invested, to really focus on everything around them. And the second thing is, if they have a marketing certificate of some kind, so they took a class at, a community college or something like that to learn more about marketing books, then that's a guy I can actually work with a lot easier. He already knows some of the challenges that we're going to go through anyway when we try and market the book, and he can help me overcome some of those challenges. That's a partner that you need in an author, especially at my level. I'm a boutique. I'm not a major publisher. I'm not even a medium-sized publisher. I'm a small publisher. Me and my authors, we have to go at these marketing concepts as a partnership, because I need their help as much as they need my help.
You mentioned boutique. We know that a lot of bookstores are opening up that are specialized. For example, poetry and certain types of fiction, or only a certain type of fiction. Or only independent author or publishers, small
Right.
publishers.
Right.
So is that the same for you as a boutique? You're specifically focused in on a certain area?
Right. I focus mainly on Texas authors and Texas stories, fiction and or nonfiction. But that's my genre, I guess, is Texas. And that might not sound boutique-ish enough, but it kind of is. Most bookstores, well, even Barnes & Noble, they have a Texas shelf. And I found that even over in Germany and parts of Japan, the bookstores there, they have a cowboy section. Kind of neat. And so we fit there too.
Yes, we've been invited to Germany many times to do book festivals.
Yeah,
but
they do. They work really. One of our authors, Jack Knox, he has the photography book about Texas, and he sells his books in Belgium. I'm not sure how many he sold, but he sells them there, and he's been on their radio and been in the magazines, and he does really well. Yeah, I guess he does. He's happy anyway, and you know what? That's actually something I tell the authors. You know, first and foremost, you'll probably never make a fortune at this stuff. You better do it because you love it. That's the only reason why you should do it anyway. If you make good money at it, great for everybody, but just do it because you love it.
That's one thing I've also told a lot of authors is that keep at it, keep writing, keep producing the books for two reasons. One, you're going to get better and better and better.
Right.
And that's really critical. Number two is even if your first 6 or a dozen books don't sell, you might end up with book 10 or 14 or 20 that becomes that big seller, and because of that, all your other books all of a sudden become
hit a
big
leg.
sellers.
Yeah, you hit a leg. Yeah.
So you keep at it, you keep working at it, and keep improving, and it does pay off. So, from your perspective as a publisher, how do you see the publishing world changing in the next couple of years?
A lot of your publishers are just going to go away. Or they're going to dry up and blow away. It really is, it's not going to get any better, any easier for a publisher. It's going to get easier for authors to become self-published. And there's more tools and utilities out there for that to occur. And as long as that marketplace is strong enough, then the real need for traditional publishers like myself is going to get less and less. I don't get a lot of manuscripts that we used to. We used to get hundreds of manuscripts, and now we get 10, 12 of them. That's all so we don't even get as many submissions that we used to. So yeah, the traditional publishers like myself, we're going to adjust or go away.
And with that aspect of individuals publishing themselves, print on demand and things of that nature, it comes back again to that marketing. They have to understand that, right?
Right. Yeah, you have to understand that. And guys like me, I can help. I can do that. But you can't replace. Well, here's something else I always advise the authors about. You have to liken it to running for office, being a politician. And quite frankly, the author has to be out there kissing babies and shaking hands. The publisher, your marketing department, your PR person, your agent, they can't do that for you. You're the one that's going to have to be out there, talking to people on Facebook, on Twitter, on your web blogs, in person, at your trade shows, at the book signing events. You're the person that has to be doing that, and that's a lot of work. Nobody can do it for you.
And not only is it a lot of work, a lot of authors are not wanting to do that.
It's all a lot of work. It's hard work. And it's also scary. Think about that. Well, I understand that one of the worst things, the biggest fear most people have is speaking in public anyway. And that's a good fear, and it's something I can understand. So you're talking about an author who really just wants to write stories in their closet or in their office and not be touched by the outside world. All of a sudden you're saying you need to get out there and visit people, strangers, in a strange city, and start shaking hands and being polite. No, that's a lot of authors. They're not geared for that. That's not in their makeup.
We see that a lot in book festivals where authors will go, but they sit at their table and will either be on their phone, their tablet, or something other than...
Completely disinterested or disengaged, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a buyer, a reader, will just walk by because they see that.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing that we try to teach in the author's marketing is to be aggressive. Well, not aggressive, but be present.
Yeah.
Be there. Have that communication.
I saw that in Laura Gray at a trade show. It was TLA a few years ago. And she was doing really great talking about her dad, Jack Knox, and her husband, Clark. And she was talking about their books, and she was doing a great job. But she really didn't talk about hers that much. But she was okay with representing her dad or her husband and their works. And she did a great job. It really was. But I thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah, I've seen some couples that way where the author doesn't do the talking, the spouse does because they can sell it.
Or the sister. I've seen that before. The sister was out there, the front man for the book. Yeah. It works well.
For the publishing world in the context, in the next couple of years, what do you see happening with bookstores?
Oh, bookstores will be fine. They're not going to go away. Like you said, they're going to get nichier. They're going to get more specialized. They're going to add more products and services to their offers. A lot of bookstores, I've noticed, when they open up as nonprofits. And so that gives them kind of a leg up over the retail stores anyway, and they still offer the same, books. But as a nonprofit, they save themselves a lot on taxes. They also get donations. So the bookstores will be fine. They're going to be happy. You're not going to be able to get rid of them. People still like to go to bookstores, and they still like to look at books and open them up and read them.
Do you find that like Barnes & Noble may get swallowed up by Amazon or just go away because of that type of level of competition and the fact that all these smaller ones now are starting to grow?
Something is going to have to happen. Amazon is opening up their own stores now, which that's laughable. The one company that decided years ago they're going to put every bookstore out of business has decided to open up a bookstore. That's laughable. I'm not sure what's going to happen there. I know Barnes & Noble is in trouble at the moment. Did you hear recently about the Barnes & Noble kitchens? Did you know what they're doing in the kitchens?
No.
Barnes & Noble, they wanted to open up little cafes. So inside their bookstores, not just having a Starbucks, but having a cafe where they have a full meal, a full restaurant. And Barnes & Noble kitchens. The CEO that dreamt up that idea and was spearheading that idea, I believe he got fired. However, the idea for the kitchens stayed on. And so they're still working that idea, this concept for kitchens. And the original, the founder of Barnes & Noble, or the founder, but I forgot the guy's name. He's an Italian, but he's back in charge of the Barnes & Noble. So there's some stuff going on back there. I don't know what it all is, but it looks scary.
Okay. With that, we're going to step away and take a break. We'll be back after our sponsors' little messages.
Dear Texas would like to thank our sponsors. Dear Texas would like to thank our sponsors.
Are you looking for a book festival in your area? Check out the Book Festival Network, where you can find local Texas book festivals, plus information about the attending authors, their books, and even videos. The website is easy to remember. It's bookfestival.network. Don't forget to spell out network. Again, that's bookfestival.network. Your home for Texas book festivals and Texas authors. Read, connect, and discover. We have it all at Wimberley Village Library. We support our community by providing high-quality books in all formats. We have programs for all ages and many services to fill your needs. Check us out online at wimberleylibrary.org.
Bourgeois Media and Consulting, a book publishing consultant where creative inspiration is realized. More at bourgeoismedia.com. EBG 247, where you can find ebooks galore 24 hours, 7 days a week at ebg247.com. Lone Star Book Festival is an exciting book festival to discover indie authors and publishers. To learn more about the award-winning authors, events, and other exciting events happening during the Lone Star Book Festival, please visit our website at lonestarbookfest.com. The third annual short story contest begins March 1st and runs through July 31st. Enter your short story for a chance at prizes and getting published. To learn more about this annual event, please visit our website at txshorts.com. McKinney, Texas's quaint downtown square, rich in history, entices visitors to discover its more than 100 eclectic shops and eateries. With origins dating back to 1848, McKinney is situated just 30 miles north of Dallas and 40 miles south of the Oklahoma border. One of the country's fastest growing cities, McKinney maintains its authentic small-town atmosphere, which is palpable when exploring the downtown streets, taking a walk on one of the city's many nature trails, or even visiting the city's Croatian-style village. Learn more about what awaits you in this picturesque North Texas city at www.visitmckinney.com or call 888-649-8499. You are listening to Dear Texas Radio, where we encourage Texans to drop everything and read. Your host for today is B. Allen Bourgeois.
And welcome back to Dear Texas Radio, where we do encourage you to drop everything and read. But as for those of you who have heard me before, please don't break it. We don't want you to do that, but we do want you to pick up a good book, sit back, let the worries of the days just pass you by, enjoy that author, preferably a Texas author, and a good book. Today's show is about authors' marketing event coming up on July 28th through the 30th. It is an exciting event for authors to learn how to market and sell themselves better, and it is the only organization that does offer certification for that. With me today is Dino Price, who is one of the presenters. He is a publisher, and he will be talking more about publishing. We were talking earlier, Dino, about little boutiques, little changes that are going on in the publishing world. You specialize more in nonfiction, historical, and autobiography.
Yeah, biographical work. Yeah. That's my hitch.
How is that
hitch
changing?
My giddy up.
How is that changing?
That marketplace is improving. I mean, not by leaps and bounds, but significant improvements in the market itself. I think last year it came up like 6%. Everybody else is like either 3, 4, even dying. But historicals and biographies, the marketplace itself had risen by 6%, which is kind of encouraging. And also, if you look at what's happening and this is kind of a subset of that. Some of your more popular TV shows or movies are actually based on true stories. And that's happening more and more often. In fact, I have one story that was optioned. Now, options themselves, everybody thinks you get an option, you made it. So you haven't. It's just an option, and quite frankly, they're only going to pay you $2,000, maybe $3,000 for the option anyway. That's all they pay for options. And that option, that's for 3 years. And then they can buy another year after that if they want to. But still, having an option doesn't mean you're going to get, made into a movie or a TV series, but your chances are pretty good. If you have a biography or historical piece of work, go ahead and write the treatment for it for a screenplay. Do that, get it registered with the Guild, it's the United Artists Guild, get it registered, it costs $25, it's cheap. As soon as you get that done, then you are there. You have your treatment in place, you have your copyright in place with the book, and if somebody wants to option your work, they can option it, and they will. Especially if it's something intriguing like, I don't know, Obamacare.
And we won't touch that subject. One thing, when people learn that I'm a writer, I hear a lot from people is that, I need to write my story. I think it's exciting. I think people will enjoy it and stuff. And I always have to ask, what makes you think your story's that important?
Right.
Do you ask that question when you're presented biographies and stuff of that nature?
Right, I do. I do. And it's back to the marketplace itself. The author has to prove to me that there's a marketplace for that story. Regardless of your own personal story or not, you have to show me that there's a marketplace for it. And there is. Most of them, they really do have a reason to write the story. And if there's a reason for it, then sure, let's move forward.
Is it possible that everybody thinks that their story is so important that the market gets saturated, like romance has gotten saturated?
But I guess it's possible. Again, if the marketplace is there, then keep selling into that marketplace. If it's there and if it's a healthy marketplace, there's no reason why you shouldn't write another one. There's 10,000 copies or 10,000 titles related to Vietnam, and still they write more. For a reason, because it's a healthy marketplace. As long as it still remains healthy, people are still going to write to that marketplace.
And now with Afghanistan and the Iraq wars, I'm sure a lot of that will be coming out.
How many more stories or books do we need on JFK? We'll get another one. I swear we will. There's going to be another one every year. We'll always get another JFK book.
As far as publishing itself, any tidbits for somebody who wants to get into writing?
Yeah. Okay. For my marketplace, my niche, you got to remember what the current reader is what they can take. Most of them they don't read 400-page books anymore. They read books that are actually more like 220, 240 pages. So you don't submit a manuscript that's 250,000 words. It just you get rejected or had out of hand, you have to come back and, with something a little more digestible for the reader. And that's what I look for beyond anything else. I'm looking to see if it is, a quality book that a reader will buy. That's what I look for. Do that work yourself. Find out whether somebody's going to read your book. Were they interested in reading 400 pages on oak trees? It's possible that it's not worth writing.
Okay. Out of curiosity, and this is slightly off subject, but not quite. From a publisher's perspective, you make your money based on the number of books that are sold.
Right.
Okay. So for a half-price books or something similar to that, when they're no longer paying royalties and they're making money on books being sold, how does that impact you?
Okay. Well, let's say, like I have several titles in the same position where, we made the run, we, printed and sold the book for 3 years, but now the market's dying off, and everybody that wanted to buy a copy of Austin's, they've already got the copy, they don't want another one. So, I have a lot of inventory, and so Half Price actually does me a favor by taking a lot of those books off my hand. They pay me, 50 cents or $1 per book. No, it's not what I spent for them. That's not, close to what they're worth, but it helps me get it out of my warehouse so I can move on with other projects.
Okay. But for the author and for you, you're not making any more money after that point.
Right. The book's not being sold anyway.
But if it's being sold at half price or one of those secondhand stores...
Only because it's set at that price. Only because it's being sold for $4 or $5 a piece.
Right. But somebody else is making money on your work and on the author's work.
Right.
So you have no issue with that?
No, that's the economy. That's the ecology of publishing and book sales. If a person's not willing to pay retail price or even a discounted retail price for a book, then they're just not willing to do that. But if a person's willing to pay $4 for the book, well, then you have to move it to that marketplace where the person will actually do that. I can't do that myself because that's not where my marketplace is. So I sell it to half price. But those are called premium sales. That's what they are. They're premiums. And so you move it to the premium marketplace. The premium distributor, he'll buy it off me for 60 cents to $1 per book. And then he'll move it to half price, or he'll move it to corporate sales or something like that. He'll make a couple of bucks off each one of those books and then just get rid of the inventory. The other alternative, because again, if the book's not being sold, it's just not being sold, the alternative then is to shred the book. Nobody wants to shred a book. I don't want to shred a book. I've done that before. It's painful. And it's just a horrible process to go through, to watch all that paper being, chewed up by a machine.
For an up-and-coming writer, we've talked a lot about it, is marketing and understanding the market. Whether you're writing about a certain subject or whatever. What else could you tell an up-and-coming writer?
If you can do it yourself with a little bit of guidance from a friend or from a publisher, then do it. That's the best way sometimes to get yourself, especially up and coming, to get yourself known and get your feet wet. Put a couple of them out for yourself. Go through CreateSpace or go through Ingram Spark, and do this. There's plenty of people, even myself and you included. I mean, we're here, we're to help anyway. If you have questions, we'll help you out, and get your feet wet and figure out how to do this. Once you become established, and once you have a fan base and you know what you're doing, you got your marketing in place, you got your strategy in place, then getting the attention of a known publisher or a known agent would be a dream.
To that aspect, I've seen some authors who have been at that top with the traditional publisher, have sold thousands of copies and stuff, walk away from that to do their own because they've established that.
Now they're huge.
Niche.
Yeah, like Patterson's one of those guys. O'Reilly owns his own publishing company now, doesn't he? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he doesn't need them anymore. Yeah, and bravo. Yeah, quite frankly, that's the way it should be. If you've done that good, you've done that well with your book and with your publisher, I'm sure they're happy. I mean, they've got just as much in that they got back out of it anyway. They're probably just as happy with that and move on to bigger and brighter shores. Sometimes it's more likely than not that you'll come up with another project later on that your publisher wants to see.
And in reference to agents, which you had mentioned earlier, from a publisher's perspective, what is the value of an agent?
Vetting. if an agent is taking a book on or taking an author on, then I know the agent's vetted the author, and the agent knows that the agent knows that the author is worth something, and that the book project's worth something. The agent has experience. The agent's not going to take something on that's worthless. So if an agent brings me a project, then I know that that project's worth publishing. It's almost an automatic. I have a couple agents that, they bring me something, I'll publish it no matter what it is, because they brought it to me and they've done their homework.
So how difficult do you think it is for writers to find agents these days?
Nearly impossible. Just about as hard to find a publisher. I've seen agents turn people away because they weren't solicited correctly. It's like, okay. And this is one thing that we want to cover in our seminar, is how to present yourself, how to write your pitches, and how to put things together that will attract, an agent or a publisher. It's not rocket science. All these pieces have to be in place before they can actually look at it and say, okay, you are a real writer and this is a real project and you want to talk about.
So for a writer, just to sit down and to write a book really doesn't mean anything unless they fully understand all the business aspects.
Strategy, planning,
So for an author, or wannabe author, who's contemplating that, sitting down and spending hours making characters and plot and all that stuff, do you think they should go ahead and learn the business aspect of writing before they do that, or does it matter when they learn?
No, learn first. Always learn first. Always sharpen your axe. Go back to the guy who wrote the cat book. Think about what he did. He spent months trying to figure out what keywords were important and what people were searching on and looking at. That's what he did. He looked at the market first before he decided to write a book on, cat names.
But for an author that has a story idea already, would that still apply for them?
Find your marketplace. If you can find the marketplace for that story, then you've probably got a good deal.
Okay. Otherwise, write the story and put it aside and then go on to another project.
Write the story and go to CreateSpace or Lightning Source or Lightning Spark. You're going to Spark. Write the story and put it in there and self-publish it. Start building your fan base yourself.
Okay. Or, as I was saying, put it aside so that when there is a market, you can put it out there.
Put it out there, yeah. Yeah, actually, some authors actually do that. They have stories that sit on the shelf they've never published before. Waiting for the right time, I guess.
Okay. So we've talked about the aspect of publishing and how it's changing, words of advice for authors and stuff, and we keep coming back to the marketing aspect. So the author's marketing event that's coming up July 28th through the 30th in Houston, Texas. What for an author that's already published, what would you advise them as to why they should be there?
Oh, they still have to learn how to market the books. And is this going to be the last book they ever write? Are they done with this? Or they want to make a good career out of it? They want to make a profession out of it? If it is their profession or their want to be profession, then invest in yourself. Learn more about what you need to do. Learn your job.
And the same goes then for those that are wanting to be an author. Come in, learn about all this ahead of time so you have a better understanding of what you're getting into.
And the project that you're going to invest 3 years into, that project might be a little more successful.
Well, I thank you very much for your time, Dino, and I want to remind the listeners the author's marketing event is July 28th through the 30th in Houston. If you are unable to attend the event, the videos are available. You can purchase a access fee for that and be able to see everything after the event, still learn from the presenters such as Dino and others, and be able to move your career in the right direction.
My pleasure. I really appreciate that. You're buying lunch, right?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Thank you for listening to Dear Texas Radio. To learn more about Dear Texas and its literacy programs, please visit their website at deartexas.info. I am Alex Anthony, your announcer.